Okay, so today we are going to be doing a deep dive into the Book of Ruth.
Okay.
You've requested this.
Okay.
A lot of you have requested this,
Yeah.
and uh, and I get it.
Yeah.
Uh, on the surface, this book is often seen as a simple love story,
Right.
but there's so much more going on beneath the surface.
Absolutely.
And I think one of the reasons why this book resonates with so many people
Uh-huh.
is that it really does touch on some universal themes.
Yeah.
Themes of loss and loyalty
Right.
and redemption and second chances.
Mm-hmm.
And these are things that I think we can all relate to.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited to really dig into this book with you today.
Yeah, me too.
And to see what we can uncover.
Yeah.
So let's start with the historical and cultural context.
Okay.
Because I think it's really important to understand the world in which this story takes place.
Absolutely.
In order to fully appreciate the significance of the events that unfold.
Yeah.
So we're talking about ancient Israel, and specifically the time of the judges,
Mm-hmm.
and this is a period of great turmoil and upheaval.
Yes, definitely.
The Israelites are constantly at war with their neighbors.
Yeah.
There's famine.
Uh-huh.
There's all sorts of social and political unrest.
Yeah, it was a very unstable time.
And into this world steps Naomi.
Right.
And she's a woman who has lost everything.
Yes, she has.
She's lost her husband.
Mhm.
She's lost her two sons.
Yep.
And she's left with nothing but her two daughters-in-law,
Right.
Ruth and Orpah.
Mm-hmm.
And so the story begins with Naomi deciding to return to her homeland,
Yeah.
to Bethlehem.
Yeah.
And she urges her daughters-in-law to stay behind,
Yeah, she does.
to go back to their own families.
Yeah, she tells them to go back to their people.
But Ruth refuses.
Mm-hmm.
She says to Naomi, "Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God."
Wow, that is powerful.
It's an incredible statement of loyalty.
It really is.
And it's one of the things that makes Ruth such a compelling character.
Yeah, I mean, she's essentially giving up everything.
Yeah.
To follow Naomi
Right.
into the unknown.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
and we have to remember that in this culture,
right.
in this time,
Mm-hmm.
kinship ties were everything.
Oh, yeah, they were incredibly important.
I mean, they were.
They provided structure,
Absolutely.
social safety nets.
Yeah, you were connected to your family
Right.
for everything.
For protection,
Yeah.
for inheritance.
Yeah.
For everything.
And so for Ruth to leave her family
Mm-hmm.
and to follow Naomi
Yeah.
into a foreign land,
Mm-hmm.
it's a huge decision.
Yeah, it was a monumental decision.
And it speaks volumes about her character.
It does.
So they arrive in Bethlehem.
Okay.
And it's the time of the barley harvest.
Right.
And Ruth, being the resourceful woman that she is, she decides to go out and glean in the fields.
Okay.
And gleaning was basically a way for the poor and the widowed to gather leftover grain.
Yeah, it was kind of like a social safety net.
Yeah.
I mean, for those who didn't have land of their own.
And so Ruth is out there gleaning in the fields,
Mm-hmm.
and she just happens to end up in the field of Boaz.
Right.
And Boaz is a wealthy landowner,
Yes, he is.
and he's also a relative of Naomi's late husband.
Uh-huh.
And so when he sees Ruth,
Yeah.
he's immediately drawn to her,
Mm-hmm.
and he's impressed by her hard work
Right.
and her character.
Uh-huh.
And so he basically tells his workers
Yeah.
to make sure that she has plenty to glean.
He says to leave extra grain for her.
Yep.
And to treat her kindly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is where the love story starts to develop.
Okay.
But it's important to note
Mm-hmm.
that this isn't just a simple romance.
No, it's not.
There's a lot more going on here.
Yeah.
Because Boaz is not just a potential love interest.
Right.
He's also a redeemer.
Yes, he is.
And a redeemer in this context
Mm-hmm.
is basically a male relative
Right.
who has a legal obligation
Uh-huh.
to care for a widow.
Yeah, to protect her and to
Yeah.
provide for her.
And this custom of redemption
Yeah.
was rooted in the idea of levirate marriage.
Right.
And levirate marriage was basically a way to ensure that a widow
Yeah.
and her property
Uh-huh.
would be taken care of.
Yeah, and that the family line would continue.
So Boaz has this legal and moral obligation
Yeah.
to redeem Naomi
Right.
and by extension Ruth.
Yeah.
And so he goes through a rather complicated legal process.
It's a whole with the elders of the city to make sure that everything is done properly.
And in the end, he marries Ruth.
He does.
And they have a son
Right.
named Obed.
Uh-huh.
And Obed becomes the grandfather of King David.
Yeah, so we're talking about a pretty significant lineage here.
Wow.
You know, I mean, King David
Okay.
is one of the most important figures in Jewish history.
And so the Book of Ruth
Mm-hmm.
ends with this genealogy,
It does.
tracing the line from Ruth and Boaz
Mm-hmm.
all the way down to King David.
Uh-huh.
And I think this is significant.
Yeah.
Because it shows that Ruth's story
Mm-hmm.
is not just a personal story.
Yeah.
It's a story that has national
Yeah.
and even theological implications.
Yeah.
And it really speaks to the idea
Mm-hmm.
that God can use anyone,
Yeah.
even a Moabite widow,
Mm-hmm.
to accomplish his purposes.
Absolutely.
So what do you think the takeaway is here?
I mean, there are so many.
Yeah.
But I think one of the biggest ones is that God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
You know, Ruth's journey is full of twists and turns.
Mhm.
And she couldn't have possibly known where it would lead her.
Yeah.
But she trusted God.
Mm-hmm.
And she followed his plan.
Yeah.
And in the end, she was blessed beyond measure.
Right.
And I think that's a really encouraging message. For all of us.
Absolutely.
You know, no matter what our circumstances,
Yeah.
God has a plan for our lives.
Yeah.
And if we trust Him, He will lead us to a place of blessing.
I think it's a great place to end.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive,
it was my pleasure.
and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Until then, keep seeking those hidden gems of wisdom in the world around you.